introduce Raghu from Cortex, who will talk on the subject of, he will talk on the Cortex, what are the offerings from Cortex. And Raghu has been a bigger supporter of the Poly and Endowment lecture program, and he has been with the Cortex from 2013. And he will share with us Cortex solutions for the blow molding and the challenges which are there. I now welcome Raghu to take on and start his presentation. Thank you. Before I got questions, you can send it by messages. We will try to collate it and show it to the, take it on with the presenters after all the presentations are finished. Thank you. Raghu.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope I'm audible. Thank you very much. And also a warm welcome from my side. Glad to see you all on a Sunday morning. Really surprised by the attendance. So it's pleasant.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Good morning.
So let me also start by thanking IPI and the Poly team for organizing this event. We are glad to be associated with it. And I think we have been speaking on this event quite regularly. So thank you, Mr. Narayan, for that. So let me share my screen now.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, is my screen visible in presentation mode?
Yes, visible.
Yeah, we can see. Can I please interrupt? Can you, Rama, can you put the switch off all speakers? Because there's some disturbance on the background. Sandeep, can you mute everybody so we can hear properly?
Are you good to go?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so yeah, so when we were invited to make this presentation, we were told that maybe we should present something which is relevant in today's COVID scenario. So we tried to come up with a topic which is based on the feedback from our existing customers. So during the COVID first and second wave, what we saw, what our customers saw the most was disruptions in production, which were mainly caused by two reasons. One was the sudden and acute shortage of manpower. And the second was the sudden disruption in the supply chain of the raw materials. So this really had a big impact on the production schedule, which totally went haywire. So with that background, what we decided was that it's a lot of noise in the background.
Sandeep, kindly mute everybody. Kindly mute everybody.
Mute everybody except the presenter.
Much better, I would say. Yeah. So with this background, we try to look upon a product, a very common product such as L-ring drum, and look at it and highlight what possible differences would the technology as well as automation would have made during the COVID scenarios. So a plant without automation running on let's say comparatively lower technology versus a plant which was running on high on automation and with a very stable production machine. Yeah. So what we have in our portfolio for this kind of application is a machine called KSH100. So that's the general theme of the presentation from our side. So before I proceed, of course, Cortex was given an introduction by Mr. Ramasamy and also Mr. Narayan. Thank you very much for that. So we are an extrusion blow molding machine manufacturer based in Germany with almost 80+ years of experience in the manufacturing of blow molding machines. And we have been present in India since 2013. Yeah? And that's when I also had joined Kautex. And I am basically a polymer engineer with specialization in plastics. And I am responsible for sales of the machine in India and neighboring countries, and also partially service to the existing clients. And one of the main mission, our mission here is to actually work together with customers as well as suppliers, work as one with a common goal. Yeah, so that's why we say be one with customers and partners. A product like L-ring drum, we basically categorize this into an industrial packaging application. So for us, rigid packaging has two sides. One is consumer packaging, one is industrial packaging. Consumer packaging, basically your small bottles, shampoo bottles, toilet cleaning bottles, and industrial packaging products like jerry cans, drums, IBC, which are basically used in lube oil industry, solvents, agrochemicals, chemicals, also in food applications. And of late, what we have seen is also in semiconductor applications. Yeah. And for this particular product, which is an L-ring, what we have is a machine which is called KSH 100. 100 denotes the clamping force. What we have the possibility here is a single and a double station machine. I would touch upon this during the coming slides. We have possibilities with different layer configurations, mono layer, or decor or reco. So deco is a decorative co-extrusion, wherein you have an outer layer for color and the inner layer for getting in contact with your inner product. And reco is regrind co-extrusion, where you have a middle, it's a 3-layer structure wherein the middle layer is pumped with regrind material. So there are also other topics here, which is automation, modularity, but I would cover these points in the coming slides. So when you look at drum, of course, it's a very familiar product also in this fraternity, I'm sure. So we have a tight head drum, which is easily a 220 liter or a 210 liter drum, which we also call an L-ring drum. It can be with 1 L-ring, 2 L-ring, or we have standard open top drums, which is more concave in nature, has a bigger opening, and which is covered by usually an injection molded part. Or we have freely designed drums, which can easily be produced in the same mold, which is producing the L-ring drum, but with an extended opening or a bigger opening. So when we are talking to the customers, basically for our better understanding, and also for a successful project implementation, what we always focus upon is to have the right article design and the dimensions. So if these things are, the list of things that I show here, if they are clarified at the very beginning of the project, I think a lot of surprises, pleasant, unpleasant can be, basically unpleasant surprises can be avoided. So when you talk about article dimensions, we are talking about the diameter, height, what kind of weight expectations the customer has, the raw material type. This is important because we have raw material suppliers, and there are some of them which are very common. For example, Marlex, let's take. So then we have STP. Marlex is a very common grade here, but the advantage of using Marlex is, okay, we get a consistent quality product. We know about this from the market, but the challenge here is that also this material is very high in demand. So it's always good to know alternate suppliers, and also how this product will behave actually if we are using a different supplier, because at the end of the day, each product, each material will have slightly different properties, which it will impart to the final product. The required output is also very critical. Drums, we have machines which can produce as much as 50+ drums an hour. If you have a requirement of that, then it makes a very good business case, because at the end of the day, it's always cost per drum. So if you're producing the drum efficiently, running the extruders at 85% of capacity, which is best for optimum power utilization. You are producing a very efficient product when it comes efficient products when it comes to the running of the machine, and also a cost-effective product because you are producing a very high number of product in 1 hour. 50 plus drums is our normal output, but we had also reached 53 drums in an hour. The kind of surroundings the machine is going to run into, this is very typical for countries like India, which has tropical climate. So whenever we are talking about a project in India, we are always making sure that we are talking about this dehumidification factor. UN approval, again, a very key point, but this always depends upon the kind of customers you are targeting. If you are looking at products which has to be very strictly compliant to UN standards, the weight, the dimensions, yes, there are customers, there are applications that demand these kind of strict requirements, but then there are also customers who don't really require that kind of, let's say, stringent requirements. So we have the same drum that can be produced at 8.5 kg as per UN approval, or we can also look at producing the same drum of around 7 to 7.5 kg based upon your end customer's requirement. Also, drum is a common product, but it's also a very old product. It's been existent in market since many decades. So there are a lot of patents which are covering these drums. So we have to make sure that we are not really encroaching upon any of the patent design. So Kautex does support, we have our own design which we can modify based upon your end customer's requirements. So this is the Kautex design which we have patent for, but this is also open, so we can also share it with our customers without any royalty. So flexibility is going to be a key when you are deciding upon a machine. So in this case of KSH, what we have is, of course, apart from the clamp force, the daylight, the clamp stroke, the mold platons, this will define the kind of products that you can produce. And we have tried to keep these values in a range that it can accommodate a lot of products which are in similar shape and size, and also diverse applications. If you see here, we have two tie bars which are diagonally placed. So as of right now, it might seem it's like on 45 degree, but we have the flexibility of changing this angle to an extent that we can have an identical clamping system, which is a mirror image. And this is being fed by the same extruders. So then it becomes a double station machine. So you have one extruder, which is in continuous extrusion form, feeding one clamping system and also the second clamping system. The idea of using two clamping system is basically to see how we can make the output almost double. So let's say around 90 drums per hour. Also, a lot of other critical factors are important when you're considering the drum. So one possibility is that when you're talking about a double station machine or a single station machine, what we are using is continuous extrusion. So traditionally, drums, a lot of big products are usually made by accumulator type machines. Yeah. It's been a proven technology. It's also made in market right now. So we still find some producers who are using this technology. But our background of fuel tanks, wherein we were making these continuous extrusion machines for 6-layer, 7-layer applications, clearly demonstrates that continuous extrusion process is superior when it comes to final product wall thickness, distribution, and all, compared to an accumulator head machine. And also, power consumption wise, we find that a steady running extruder is always more efficient. Yeah, these values, we found that co-extrusion of continuous type head is far more efficient than an accumulator run machine. The second challenge is, or let's say the optimization part of the machine, is that you have a machine which is, if it is under the die head, every time the mold closes and catches the parison, it has to move away so that the continuous co-extrusion can happen. But this means you are moving 30-40 ton of material, which is really a power guzzler. Yeah? So in that scenario, what we have is a device which will actually plug the parison from the die head and pass it on to the mold. Yeah, the advantage of this is that you are not really moving that kind of mass, and this sophisticated system also makes sure that your scrap portion is really low. Yeah, the wall thickness distribution makes sure that the thickness of the scrap is low, plus the actual quantity of the scrap is also reduced by using this parison transport device. So basically you're saving raw material costs. So when you're talking about raw material saving, we sometimes think that we're only looking at the product, but it's not that. I mean, we also have to consciously see at the scrap portion generated, the lumps generated, and see how we can optimize and reduce the wastage on those fronts. So when we're talking about an automation system, now this is the bird's eye view of a machine plus automation. So if I go up the stream, I would say at the end of the line, we will have the quality center. This quality center is basically to check your final product. This checking can be either weigh checking to see if the product is within tolerance. If it's slightly above, it's still okay, but it should never be going below your requirements or the standards. The other part of the quality center could be a visual inspection system, could be leak testing system, and also maybe an inkjet printer to coat the drums. It's also important that when we are running at a low cycle time or very high output, we have to see that how we can best optimize the cooling performance of the mold. So we have a time which is required definitely to get the shape, but the secondary cooling can be taken care by the post-cooling stations. Yeah, this is something which is getting more and more common, because then this cooling and stabilization of the article is taken care by the post-cooling station. The number of post-cooling stations entirely depends upon the kind of output that you're looking at. So what we see here is an 8-station post-cooling station, but this can also be 4, 3, 2, depending upon your final requirement. A robot handling. So the idea is to have no manual intervention, totally automated system. So we will have a robot which will actually take out the parts and keep it in the cooling station. Subsequently, take out the part from the cooling station, pass it on to the quality center. Deflashing station, yes, it is very critical. We have to make sure that the parts are properly deflashed before they go into the cooling station. A linear takeout system is the part removing from the mold, and it transfers it to the deflashing station. And you see there are 3 extruders on top of the extruder platform. So this is basically a RICO machine. RICO is again regrind co-extrusion. I have a video which is few minutes, I think 4.5 minutes something, which actually shows this system in production. If the video streaming is not too good, sir, please do let me know. So this is how the KSH machine with downstream automation is looking like. So we have on top of the extruder platform, 3 extruders and a die head here. So what we have is a patented system. It's called WVT1350, which is an output of almost 650 kg per hour. The specifications are same that I showed you in the previous slides. And of course, the mold design also comes from Kautex.
Raghu, the video is not visible.
Video is not visible, sir.
Okay. Shall I start again?
Yes, sir. Please.
But do you see the screen of the video?
No, sir.
No. Only your last slide is only seen.
Is it? Okay.
We didn't see the video.
You have to shut down this sharing and then reshare. Then only it will happen.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Close this file and open again. Unshare and share.
Okay, I'll try that. Does this change the screen?
Yes, yes. You can
Okay.
see.
Let me try.
We can see now.
So this is a KSH 100 machine along with automation system. So we have the 3 extruders on the top, followed by the die head. So in this case, the extrusion head is made by Kautex and it's called WVT 1350 with an output of 650 kg an hour. The mold design is again from Kautex side. So this is the article transfer, the takeout device that I was mentioning, and this is the deflashing station where you remove the flash. We have the 6-axis robot along with the cooling station. This is our control system. It's a Backoff-based control system, and we call it Flow Command, where the software comes from Kautex in-house. So this is the concept of Paterson transfer. The flashing stage. So what we're seeing now is the push cooling stations, where the cooling is given to the top and the bottom, and also circulation is done to the inside of the The quality check, before the quality check, there is a drain hole punching, wherein you have an extra hole to remove the water accumulated in case the drums are stored in, let's say, in outer areas, and the waste cage. You have for the traceability, you have the possibility of printing the code, which has basically with which we can trace back our production parameters. And you have the final article being but it's entirely depending upon the customer, because some customers don't want automation or they have their own in-house automation systems. So in that scenario, we can have a simple blow and drop, wherein you just drop the drum, and then of course you need a skilled operator who can remove the flash consistently without damaging the drum. So it's basically all the possibilities are there, depending upon what the customer actually needs. Can you see my slides again?
Yeah, we can see.
So basically, I think we had covered this portion. So machine, yes. Mold, yes, very important part. But what about downstream equipment? I mean, we have experience of working with suppliers over the years, and for some reason, we always found some kind of shortcomings, and then we understood that, okay, why not take the advantages, understand the disadvantages, and try to come up with a one-stop solution wherein we also take care of the downstream equipment, like the deflashing, like the end of arm tooling, the post-cooling stations. And with that know-how, we did come up with something which we found was very innovative and something that was highly appreciated by the customer, because it was focused on the end product. So for example, it was able to tear off flash in a, let's say, more gentle manner without actually causing any kind of imperfections on the body of the drum. You have the possibility of controlling everything with a single HMI. So basically with Kautex HMI, you can control everything. Yeah. And then you have the conveyor, which can transport the flash. So you can actually design the system based upon your exact requirement of the customer. Post-cooling station is also the same concept. We had experience with many suppliers, but then we found that, okay, we need to get the best performance. We need to dig in deeper and come up with our own solution. The advantages was that, of course, the solution was a little bit more efficient from what we were getting. At the same time, for the customer, it meant that the customer is only talking to one person, because we are taking the entire responsibility since we are supplying this downstream automation. So basically 1 or 2 service engineers can take care of the entire service, entire line. But one of the also critical part is where Kautex comes into the picture is the melt management, the head design. With Kautex, we've been manufacturing our own heads since a very long period of time, and this know-how has really helped us to produce parisons which are actually without any kind of impurities, because we are not really having any kind of dead spots in the channels. We are making sure that there is no stagnation of material anywhere. The design is optimized, so it's a spiral curve, which is of course not a new thing, but then you have to optimize the spiral curve in a way that there are no weak points anywhere. So sometimes it's a combination of heart and spiral curve, and we also have a lot of patents in this when it comes to head design. So when you're looking at multi-layer, of course, this is one of the key for saving not only let's say, raw material, I would say specify virgin raw material, and at the same time also saving master batch. Yeah. Because you have a middle layer which you can actually run with high concentration of regrind material, PCR, or let's say cheaper grade material which is readily available in the market. Having said that, I think one of the critical points which we should also consider is to get a grade which is closely resembling the HM grade or HDPE grade. Yeah. We can also have the possibility of having a very thin outer layer with because the master batches are usually more expensive. Sometimes it gets a little bit more expensive, may not be in drum, but for other smaller applications where we are looking at pearly finish, gold finish, then this master batches cost really a lot of money. Yeah? So the idea is to basically reduce the consumption of master batch by using the master batch only in the outermost layer. It has two advantages. One, you are reducing the total quantity of the master batch used. But if you look at the percentage, maybe from 2% you have to increase the dosage to 4%. But then that 4% is only on the, let's say, 15% or 20% of the total area which it was supposed to cover, because the outer layer is only in that range. Or there are also times when there are some special requirements of the product. For example, products which carry in highly flammable liquid, then we also have to make sure that we use carbon black with anti-static properties to avoid electrostatic discharging. 3-layer is also a very good product when it comes to pharma food applications, because you have the innermost layer which is only the virgin material, and this is the material which is coming in contact with your final product or with your inner product. Let's say it could be a pulp, it could be lube oil, it could be something which has very high quality demands like semiconductor fluids. So this virgin layer makes sure that there is no leaching or there is no impurities or color being transferred from your regrind or the middle layer to your final product. And then we also have the possibility of optimizing the mixing of certain stabilizers like UV stabilizers, calcium carbonate. But all said and done, a machine, if you are a 3-layer or a 2-layer machine, if properly made, will not have any change in the physical properties. It would still be 1:1, because there is sometimes a consumption that if you are looking at a 3-layer drum, maybe the properties are different from a 2-layer or a monolayer drum. But based on our experience, properly made drum, similar conditions will not have this kind of drastic changes. This is a small table which actually highlights the advantages or the cost advantages when you are using a 3-layer structure compared to a monolayer structure. And in this document, we are looking at MB, which is the master batch. So if you look at the extreme right, the light blue and the dark blue side, so we have a percentage master batch which is increasing from 2 to 4%. But if you look at the consumption of master batch, which was 10 kg per hour, is getting reduced to 5 kg per hour when we are looking at a 3-layer structure, which can further be optimized based upon your end requirement. So that saving of master batch results in actually annual or hourly savings in your final product. So if you summarize this multi-layer technology, of course, you are reducing your production cost by reducing the consumption of master batch. This is not something new, but this is something which we should really consider when we are making our investments. Also, the fact that a good extrusion system makes sure that we have a very consistent melt homogeneity, and this results in a very uniform wall thickness distribution. And this uniform wall thickness gives you much better properties compared to, let's say, other solutions. So basically, you have a chance of producing your drum at a lower weight if you're looking at uniform wall thickness distribution. This multi-layer concept is more sustainable because you have the possibility of running high percentage of regrind. So let's say end users or our famous brand owners in this country or worldwide, they are all promoting the use of PCR, and they all want to project their bottles as a green bottle by increasing this PCR content. So I think it's something which will be more and more relevant in the coming days. We are reducing the usage of master batch, which is again making the solution more sustainable. Weight reduction possibilities are there, and you have very high product quality with a uniform melt homogeneity. And like I mentioned, when it comes to food application with low migrations, this is an optimum solution because you have an inner layer which is totally encapsulating your product filled inside from your regrind layer. Coming back, of course, as a machine manufacturer, we focus upon these points, and we have to make sure that all these critical points actually become our USPs. So output, we are looking at high output machines. We are looking at 40 plus drums per hour. Depends upon the range. We can depends upon your requirement. We can go from 40 to 50 plus. Yeah. Continuous co-extrusion technology or continuous extrusion technology is definitely, as per our experience, a much superior technology than the accumulator type, because you have the possibility of very good melt quality with very fast color change and a very highly reduced energy consumption. A uniform wall thickness is something which we can guarantee you along with our system. A compact design, because the entire system is designed in a way that there is no major disassembly and assembly. So each component are designed in a way that they easily go into a 40-foot container. So you don't have to really have to make it like a puzzle where you have your machine is coming in very small parts. No, it's basically 2 to 3 big parts which needs to be assembled on the site. And like you saw in the video, I mean, once the production is automated, yes, irrespective of what happens in the outside world, if you have one person to switch on and switch off the machine, you still get your products. So this is what we had compiled for this presentation. We hope you find this useful. It was really a pleasant experience giving this presentation in front of this esteemed audience. I saw a lot of veterans from the industry, so it's an honor for us to present in front of this team. But I also have to take this opportunity to also apologize that I would not be able to spend too much time in this meeting because I have a housewarming going on at my place. So I have to go back. My family is waiting. My guests are waiting. But if there are any queries, please do write to me. I have my email ID here. If you want the copy of the presentation, please do write to me or drop me a WhatsApp or a call, and I will definitely get back to you.